Yes, there it is. Yay. Good morning, everyone. We are going to work on or talk about breath work or our breath. And our breath is something that a lot of us really just take for granted. We just breathe all day. And, you know, we have this active form of consciously breathing, right? But many of us don't utilize it properly, this breath that we have, right? We kind of take for granted this lovely thing that goes in and out of our body. And I've been teaching you a lot of Qigong, and a lot of it has breath work involved in it. And we've been kind of learning how our Qi moves through our breath. And so this morning, we're going to do a lot of talking and breath work, and which we can do in a chair, seated. And so grab some coffee or tea, get comfortable. We are going to talk about breath work today. So if any of you guys have any questions about it, I know my good friend Andrew Huberman just dumped a video about breath work on YouTube. If you follow him, go listen to that. I'm sure it's going to be delightful. It's an hour and a half of him talking about breath work and neurobiology. He's a neurobiologist at Stanford. And right now they're Wim Hof. I did Wim Hof probably 4 years ago now. I went through all of Wim Hof, and but people now are really figuring it out. Wow, Wim Hof has something going on here, and he really did. He really does, because it's all about oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange, and a lot of us don't get enough carbon dioxide. We do, and what happens then is we don't have enough oxygen, so it has to be balanced. We need to have enough oxygen and enough carbon dioxide, just like trees are the opposite way, but they need that same balance of exchange. So breath work is, now more than a form of conscious breathing. It's when you get into breath work, then you're consciously thinking about your breath. And honestly, the breath is the most able part of your body that you're able to control. You can't you can't control your heart beating. You can't control your nerves moving through your body or your blood moving through. You can't control your brain-body connection in a lot of ways. You try to control your emotions. Most of us can't. I mean, we try to do that, but really the only asset we have on board here is our breath, to actively, consciously work on our body. And that's what got me into Qigong, because I was so, I think, out of my body. I wasn't even breathing right. My breath was all out of whack. I was just not in the right state of awareness that my body needed to be in to utilize this Qi to its utmost, right? This spirit that we have. So what I'd like to talk about today is there's many different types of breath work, and each form of breath work has just a really unique purpose and a different effect in our body, and we have to utilize those effects when we can. Those breaths, right? They're so important, and we do it in the morning when I have you do a little diaphragmatic breathing. So, what that is, we have our diaphragm, and it's connected to all these muscles in our, and as we take a breath, we breathe in, and honestly, you can feel the breath come in. However you do it, a lot of people are really shallow breathers, and I'm not saying one or the other is better. It's actually, we do things all day sometimes, and we don't consciously know it. That's why breathing is so unconscious most of the day. But then we can stop and be aware of our breath and be conscious of it, and then take a few of those conscious breaths, right? To bypass that awareness that we have, that we can take those few moments and realize that breath, get into our body, into our brain's executive awareness, our brain's executive functioning, right? Our brain wants us to do this. Honestly, it craves it, and once you start really doing this, you crave it. You want to do more conscious breathing, and it really opens up a pathway. And as you breathe, you become more aware of your thoughts and your memories, and you just enter this state, this pattern, and you align with love and self-love, right? Even though many of us, we have so many processed childhood beliefs and patterns, and we really try hard through psychiatry and therapy and coaching and healing. And this breath work really does offer an opportunity to release any of that energy that we have. So through those modalities, certainly breath work is one that you can do to release energy. And Qigong is certainly a wonderful way for you to release that unconscious energy that's residing within our body, in our energetic system, right? It can get stagnant. Like right now, I'm working, and this is why I'm kind of talking about it, because I'm working on some stagnant energy I currently have in my hip and leg. And my traditional Chinese medicine doctor thinks I have some grief stuck in my leg. And I may. I've had quite a bit of grief in my life. And that's a topic for another day. But, and we all have, right? I mean, I don't want to go down that path. You can woe is me all you want. I could list it all off. But we all have grief that we have to deal with. And my point is that there's no rule or way to establish how it sets in our body. It just kind of does. And we have space somewhere within our body for this force, this energy that wants to reside there, and it could be negative, or it could be grief, it could be disease, and whatever that stagnation is, we have to find a way through maybe breath work, through establishing this breath work routine that I'm going to show you, that you can practice and be your own teacher, be your own guide, tune into yourself, give yourself a little digital session, right? Feel your body like we do. We kind of tune in, right? When we establish ourselves, I want you to ground. But through breath, we can guide our body. And through a sequence at home, anywhere, in the middle of your workday. I do it while I'm driving. I actually did a video yesterday while I was driving. Did a little breath work, the music was playing, I was rubbing my ears. It totally grounded me, and I'm driving. Because a lot of times you're driving, you can get off into meditation, and you just sometimes you're not driving. But so then I ground. When I get into that emotional state, right? So how is breath work then, now that we're talking about it, different from meditation or yoga, or Qigong even, for that matter, because Qigong is a moving meditation. And so we're kind of taking it a step away from there, and we're bringing the practice just to wherever we are. We're not in meditation. We're not in yoga. We're not in Qigong. We're not in anywhere but our body and our breath. And really, there's a reason why we need to do this disconnect, and then reconnect, because really we do it all day long, and we do it just so I guess we don't have a lot of mindfulness to this connection of how we connect and disconnect to our breath and to our outer world. And breathing practices can help us to stop that mental chatter. It can allow us to disconnect our mind and reconnect our body and our energy field, right? When we have elevated states of awareness through meditation, we're healing and growing. And so when we're like in those meditative states, science has called them, they've, coined them names, delta and theta. And so you can enter these states of awareness, and it can help you grow and expand. So I forgot to ask you to grab your water. We definitely need water. But so when we're talking about breath work, it's just really a form of, I'm kind of getting to it to the point, really, I already said it. I hope you are getting it, because this is all about you. I'm just kind of teaching you some things you can do today, some perspective for you, right? This is nothing about me. I'm just a teacher, just like you had to go to class this morning and you get a little bit out of it from your teacher at your own pace, right? I usually did. They couldn't shove it down my throat. It had to be more self-reflection, right? And so that's what this is. It allows us to just create our own pace. And breathwork just helps us to create substance and truth for our own thoughts, right? It doesn't keep us stuck in our thoughts. Through breathwork, we can quickly get out of that thought that we're thinking, and it can help us to seek new horizons, and it can slow us down. It can create, a new steady pace within our body. And over a period of time, it can really shift our perspective. It has done it to me. I first didn't even know how to do breath work a long time ago. It's now been, gosh, a good 5 years. I've been concentrating on learning my breath and how my breath is affecting my body, and how I can easily just drop in. And many people are seeking relief now. And this being able to just drop into your breath, whether you call it meditation or whatever you want to call it, a lot of people are looking for this right now. And man, I found it. It's really easy. It's breath work. But on the other hand, you got to seek it. It's just not going to come by just naturally breathing through your day. Slumping down and having these short little breaths where you're not getting enough carbon dioxide exchange. So a lot of people, we need oxygen. We need lots of oxygen, but we don't get it if we don't have the carbon dioxide exchange as well. And through breath work, we can change that. Again, we can drop and center and realize, oh, I'm not getting the carbon dioxide I'm needing right now. And oh my gosh, I'm connecting into this misconception in my body right now. My body's been not right for the last few minutes, right? Or whoever knows how long you were disconnected, right? And then when that disconnection happens, typically you're in stress. And your body is struggling more and suffering. And this breath work can help be supportive, and it can help relieve that stress within your body, that tension, that overwhelm and anxiety. Because, I mean, really what depression is your body hanging out always in the past. Did you hear that? That's basically what it is. You are living, all your breaths, a lot of them are in the past. You're thinking about past events. You're in grief and sadness, maybe. And you live there a lot during the day. I do too, apparently. And we all do, right? And the thing is with anxiety, and so I put my hands out because we taught in class last week, we learned that where we were releasing past and future, right? Anxiety is we're living in the future. We're trapped in this breath that wants to be in the future. I mean, I'm a lot up there. I want to be there. I'm thinking of all these lovely future moments and I want to be there. I'm breathing into them, right? And I want them to occur. And then we talked about that as well, about the misconceptions when they don't occur. We have to let that go through breath work when they don't occur. And I've been doing that as well myself, releasing some of that anxiety that I had, because I had anxiety about how am I going to teach my classes, and how do I want Spirit to move through me to tell you what you need to know, what I've learned, and what you also can achieve. It's really easy. It really is. And it's so easy. It's by your breath. Just by identifying your breath and then your chi, you identify your chi, and then it gets deeper. And so I have different levels in my classes that I teach about your experiences on these different levels, and it can go really, really deep. And you can create lots of power and energy. I mean, martial artists do it every day because they've figured this out. They've built up their breath work. They've released that depression from the anxiety, the past and future, the trauma that exists, the tension, and then it can create strength within our body. It can create peace. It's that next layer. It's like an onion that's unfolding, and anyone can benefit from this. If you breathe, you can benefit, right? You have an onion, you have a layer until that last breath is, that last layer of your breath has been breathed. You can control and change how it affects you. And how well you can achieve it is up to you. It's really just an experience of you and your breath. You're the practitioner, you're the teacher. I'm just going to give you little tidbits here of how you can actively do that, right? I'm hoping I spurred something in your mind right now today for you to begin your breath work teaching. So here's what to expect. Now, there's different ways to breathe. And I'm going to take a drink here. And in breath work, we always want to keep our vocal cords and our larynx, our throat, our body hydrated. And that facilitates really good breath. It facilitates muscle breath work. If you feel hardness as you breathe, you don't have a lot of fluidity, you need, first identify where you are in your body. How is your body? Start hydrating, start moving a little bit, do some of my warm-up exercises even if you're laying in a bed or in a chair and you can't do a lot of movement. Excuse me. And the reason I drink a lot, I've had like 12 different surgeries throughout my life. And one of them, they nicked my vocal cord. And well, first I screamed at my kids too much. And then I had nodules on my vocal cords that I had to go to speech therapy and fix. And then during a surgery, they nicked my vocal cord. And so I sounded like I had, was a 2-pack smoker, but I've never smoked in my life, cigarettes. So my family did, and I've experienced secondhand smoke, but I've slowly gotten my breath and my voice back. And it's possible through breath work and through your practice and your work. You can do anything through your breath. So there's 3 reasons, why breath work is really so powerful. It's just, like I said, we think we know what we're doing. We just do it all day, no matter what. We're going to breathe until we die. We know we're going to do this, just like our heart beating, right? Although when we have shortness of breath, we are concerned a tiny bit, right? Or, if we can't catch our breath in some way, or we have rapid breathing. But so what can happen when you do breath work, lots of different sensations and feelings and thoughts might come up during a breathwork session. And so we're going to talk about those today. And so it's good to, when you're learning to trust your breath and to learn your own guidance of your breath and to have your own unique breath experience, to just take some things into consideration and know that you're going to have some side effects to these breathing. And you might experience some things like tingling and buzzing, and you might feel warm, you might feel cool, you might feel tight in some places in your body. You may see colors, you may see images, you might have downloads and even insights. All of these things I've experienced myself. But no matter what, whatever's happening, it's supposed to happen. How do I know that? Because it's happening. I love to say that. Anyway, your body is so innate. It has this lovely intelligence. It's not going to do something that's wrong for you. It has this lovely wisdom, and it's going to support you in releasing what no longer serves you, right? I was concerned today about how to say that. I'm just like, I hope my daughter's listening. Her and I were making coffee this morning, and I was talking about how am I going to explain that to you, on how, and it just came out so lovely. But yeah, your body has just this innate intelligence. It knows. So the thing that is so cool is that you're going to tap into your inner knowing, and this breath work it's just going to expand your life force. It's chi. So as you learn to breathe, you're going to exactly know where to go in your level of healing. And so right away, that's the cool part, is that once you start, your breath knows, your breath wants to work with you. You have this neurobiology in your brain that starts connecting, and your breath opens up these meridians and channels, and it aligns your body with just this lovely inherent energy that wakes up. So that universal energy, like we've been talking about during our Qigong sessions, this universal energy can align and open up, and healing happens then. So I've kind of been doing this a little backwards, but I've been I've been kind of opening it up in a different way, where we opened it up physically, because you really do need to physically open your chi. You can think about it. We can certainly lay in a bed and think about it. And if you are bedridden, but the best way to do is movement. And you certainly wouldn't have done a lot of the things I'm telling you right now if you wouldn't have started moving first, right? And so that's when healing happens. So, but there's no need to think about it. So when we're doing Qigong, like we're just doing it. We're not thinking, and the universal energy just pours in. It just figures it out, right? And after a session, we're aligned, and you can receive this clarity and this peace without thinking. And so that's the first thing we do, is we tap into our inner knowing. But then you get this empowerment in a breathwork session, and this is just to breathwork or Qigong. You don't need to really imbibe an external substance. So there's an inner empowerment that comes to you. Granted, we're talking about the universe and an external substance, right? But there's an inner empowerment that comes to you. Your breath can become the source to all the answers of your questions, all the insights to your challenges are just there. And you get this freedom from being stuck. And this lovely download starts happening. And it's like the next thing comes then, right? And you know then what's next for you, what's next for your life and your work in your world, right? You feel empowered to go forward. And then you gain this new perspective on those challenges, right? So breathwork really does support those challenges that we have, that all of us experience. It can reduce our stress, and it just creates this openness. And it creates clarity, so that love and peace come in. We feel more gratitude. We want to be grateful. You know, we just, it's just something that occurs. We just say gratitude for all the things we have. And then the thing that happens with that's where manifestation comes in. And this natural and the universe wants us to naturally be grateful. And so then when we're naturally grateful, we breathe in what the universe just naturally thinks that we need. This clarity, communication, this connection, trauma, leaves, and a new thing comes in, right? That past that we've been ruminating about, that we've been having depression medicine for, did you know 50 to 60% of people now in the US are on some form of depression medication, when all they need to do is this. They don't need to go to their pharmacy, something, have it come to their house or whatever they do. Or they don't need to live in anxiety. They don't need being anxious, living in this anxious feeling every day. They're going to gain new perspective. A lot of people live there, their finances. I mean, right now everyone's finances, whoa, relationships, after, what just occurred in society, we're all reevaluating our relationships, and we're reevaluating our communication with people and our connection and how we need this connection. We so need this connection, and how we're knowing it's valuable, this connection we have with people. And breath work can help release and transition us and give us these downloads that we need to gain this new perspective and move us through these challenges that we have in life. I hope that you're taking something out of this. This is all universe working right now today. It almost makes me want to cry. I have a really dear friend who has a daughter that just became a doctor, and she has a friend who just became a doctor, and he's an intern at a hospital, where he was an intern at a hospital. He has a lovely wife and a young daughter, and over the weekend he just took his life. Now, who knows the stress that's being put on our poor doctors at the moment, right? At medical centers all over the US and the world, because they're not taught a lot of what I'm talking about right now. My lovely, who I talked about at the very beginning of my session, Andrew Huberman. Dr. Andrew Huberman of the Huberman Lab at Stanford University, they study how the breath impacts emotional states and how it can actually change the way the brain reacts to fear. And they're doing many studies right now on Wim Hof. I'm just saying, I did Wim Hof. Cold therapy is lovely to reduce inflammation. It can increase our pain tolerance. I certainly have a really now high tolerance for pain. I mean, I hurt myself and I don't feel it right away. And that just happens though, because you have a tolerance, because things move through you quickly, and because you've done this self-care practice. It's breathwork's one of the most important things that you can do, and the most useful things you can do. And it's the most helpful for you to experience if you've never done it before, right? Learn about the power that you have of your breath and how you can start this lovely practice of breath. I have a guide to breath work. It's on my website, where I go all into detail, and I have just do it exercises about breath work. It really paves the way to having sharper focus. I mean, my mother died of Alzheimer's, and I certainly don't want to head down that path. And she was already at my age. I am 64, almost 65 at Social Security here. And she at that time was already having issues where she couldn't pick up my kids. She would get mixed up and not know where to go. Of course, there wasn't GPS and phones then for me to call, but I'm pretty sharp. I want to have a conscious and very sharp mind, and I'm working really hard to do that. And I do a lot of it on my website, where we talk about intermittent fasting, fasting in general, glucose, nutrition, qigong. We practice daily, and breath work, and there's a lot of self-care we do. We have a great community of people that just are having fun, getting to know this thing we call qi. And it's a big, wide world of expansion, and it can help with pain management, and it can just help with a number of things. I mean, our athletic trainers know, now that I have my students do what we call Zhanzhang, and it's hug the tree. And they know now that this is using your diaphragm in a way that it attaches to your spine and your back, and the way your breath moves through it, it opens trigger points along our spine, and it activates. And especially if you do this early in the morning during your cortisol spikes, like I've mentioned earlier, this can really help exacerbate and relieve pain. You have cortisol in the very early morning, has a spike naturally from right when you wake up. And so doing that can help that. Can help that. You have non-specific low back pain, like I currently do. It can help just your breathing and hugging the tree. I mean, there's certainly a number of techniques that you can do. That's a really good one to do in the morning when you first wake up, when you're having those cortisol spikes. Use that cortisol to your benefit. Well, we've been chatting quite a bit. I do want to give you a quick few little breath works that we can work on, a few little techniques that can get you started with breath work. And it's called diaphragmatic breathing. We do it in class every day, but it involves expanding and contracting your belly. And it's just basically you're feeling how your diaphragm attaches to your lungs and your waist and body, and how it contracts and expands, right? And this is called box breathing, and it's 4, 7, 8 breath. So you just we're just gonna, so there's several different ways I can do. So we can do the box breathing, where you breathe in one way, breathe out. So there's, I mentioned there's several on my website, several different things you can do, techniques for diaphragmatic breathing. When you're like in your car, I typically do box breathing. It's just a very nice, you don't have to have your hand on your belly, but you're just realizing your belly, you're feeling where your breath comes in. And I'd like you to keep your tongue on the roof of your mouth. And most times I'd like you to have your mouth closed. So there's a lot of studies right now about that, about the nostril, and how you can breathe through just your nostril and keep your mouth closed. There are times you do want to exhale, and I'm going to, at the end of the last breath, I'm going to show you. So first I'm going to give you, so box breathing is more of a technique to ground yourself and align and calm. And you're just kind of identifying with your breath in a manner where you're breathing it in. So imagine how many, most people have like 5 breaths they breathe in. Take a breath right now, see what your breath is, and then exhale, count. Take that breath in, and then count. Take that breath out. And so box breathing is, we're just going to breathe in, we're just going to hold it for a breath, and then breathe out. We're going to hold it, and then breathe it. Breathe in, and then hold it, and breathe out. So we're just going to kind of breathing in, hold it, breathe out, hold it, breathe in, hold it, breathe out. So we're just kind of little tiny hold it, and then breathe out, all through your nose. And then just recognize your pattern as you're breathing in and out in this more controlled fashion of 5 in, 5 out, 5 in, 5 out. And last week we went through the alternate nose breathing. This is a good one to do before you go to bed at night. It's more of a, your breath can cross your blood-brain barrier when you're doing that, the alternate nose breathing. And then there's the psychological sigh. And a lot of us do this So box breathing kind of grounds us. The psychological sigh just, I mean, releases every tension. It just, so box breathing, Navy SEALs use that to get aligned and centered in their self and like, okay, I need to be right here, grounded. But now, and the alternate nose breathing really calms us down, right? But this other breathing, the psychological sigh, just releases the tension, just totally just releases it. So how you do it, and you probably already know what to do because you do it all day mostly. So what I'd like you to do is you just take a nice deep breath in. And then once you get to that nice deep breath in, take a nice deep breath in, and then I want you to take another sip and then exhale through your mouth. So you're just going to take a breath in. And maybe hold it here a tiny bit. And you're going to feel a tiny dizzy. I just did, because you just released some toxins, or I even hate the word toxins. You were just release some energy, right? Energy just released that you no longer need. So I hope you can experiment with these different options of breath work and know that it really will help you, guide you. They're just really, simple ways that are effective self-care techniques, and breathwork's really been popular. And hey, I had to talk about it today because, like I said, Andrew I woke up this morning and I saw he had a YouTube video on it. He had posted 12 minutes before that when I looked at it at I don't know what, 7 a.m. or wherever I am. And he already had 1.5 thousand people look at it after 12 minutes. So that just tells me that breath work has surged in popularity, and that not only does it have the science to back it up now, but it has lots of benefits. And I am one to show you here. I've used it. I practice it all day, anywhere, absolutely no cost. And you take this breath of fresh air right with you wherever you go. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed class today. We really didn't do a whole lot, but we did. We talked about our breath, which is so important. And Spirit wanted to have you know all about this chi. And I thought it was pretty good. I hope all of you did. Good morning. I have students there looking. Good morning, guys. Do you have any questions about breath work, any of you that you're still watching? I'm going to take a sip of my coffee and shut up for a minute. Well, you're so welcome, Susan. I'm so glad that I hope you can take something out of this today. And it's such a, an easy way. You're the practitioner. I'm just teaching you how to be your own practitioner, right? And it is really good information. I didn't know a lot of this, and it caused me anxiety and tension. And I mean, I was on whole sorts of medication for depression because I was living there, and I was probably living a lot in the future too. So I had medication for both. But now I have breathwork and qigong and nutrition, and it works great. If anybody needs information, go to my website. I have lots of great things there that talk all about what we do. I have some courses you can go through that go in a little bit more in depth, talk a little bit more about chi and exactly what is this chi that I'm talking about. We all have it. It's our life force energy, lives within us. It's in every single living thing. It's in plants, It's in the air that we breathe, carbon dioxide, oxygen, and we need a balance of it that we talked about today. So, yeah, I love it. I love talking about it. My family is finally getting used to me just chatting about it all the time. I usually try not to, sometimes, but it's always a good opportunity. Take a drink of our water. Make sure you stay hydrated, people out there. I know I'm really bad at being hydrated. It was one of my downfalls. I didn't really start hydrating my body till I was 50, and then it's been a real struggle my whole life to try to keep my hydration. My doctor of Chinese medicine is just like, you don't drink my water. I know, I'm trying. I drink a lot of coffee. I'm trying. That's all I can do. So let us ground. And I hope you guys all have a great day. I know I am. I have a lot of scholarships to grade. And hopefully send some kids on to college that are going to change the world, right? That's all we can do. All right, well, I had a great class. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And I will be back tomorrow, and maybe we'll do some Qigong more rather than talk. Thanks. Talk to you soon. Bye now.